Hello, everyone, and welcome back to game number 2 of Day 4, Stage 1 PEL Contenders Promotional for the Phase 3 tournament. We are here at the final day of Stage 1, and again, it's a race to the top 8 for these teams to try to move on to Stage 2, kicking off tomorrow. But with only 3 games, including this one left, Imperium, it's going to be even more pressure than I think these teams have felt throughout the course of the tournament so far.
100%. And just to give you an idea, because we're down to the final 3 games to determine the top 8 that goes through. Elgiganten got a good result in that last game. They moved up from 9th place to 7th place, and they've actually knocked YMCA and Airwaves down a place. So it just gives you an idea that every single game counts. So when you're Airwaves, when you're YMCA, when you're Elgiganten, and of course the likes of Istanbul, as well as SEEKORG, you want to get those good results. You want to create that gap. 3D Max, they jumped themselves up to 2nd place after that fantastic Game 1 performance.
They certainly have. That was what they needed to do. Definitely getting back up to the placements that they were comfortable with coming off of the first and second days of this first stage. But with the playing path coming out of that northwestern corner, very fair angle for all teams to work off of. Down to the southeast we go. And speaking of southeast, well, favored over towards the east and extremely south is going to be the first phase of this circle. Water's going to be in play. Hell, even part of the circle, about 10%, is not even going to be on the map.
No, and of course, Airwaves, Tarlans, they're going to be facing a decent bit of pressure and teams moving in from the south. However, because there is still definitely a decent bit of space to the west and the east side of that circle, the teams might look to move down in a safe way by going deep east or deep west and then moving in to the circle from there. But either way, like I said, Airways and Tarlans, they're going to have to play a little bit careful, play a little bit safe as these teams do start to moving. But Picado, Team Elite, and Istanbul Wildcats, we've seen this before, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, and we were hoping to see a concession by one of the teams exiting out of this area of the map and pretty much just giving Picado to the other. Plato or Plomo over here in San Martin. I'm going to ask you, Imperium, do you know what that means without Googling?
No, I don't. I barely speak English, never mind Spanish or Mexican.
So let me break it down for you. You don't see it in any other rendition of PUBG, only in the PC version. But Plato or Plomo means silver or lead. And it's essentially an old saying from, you know, the olden times, either give me the money or I'm going to give you a bullet. So that's been a staple here in San Martin for quite a long time. And I always love to see it. Whenever I used to spectate games, I would always highlight it. But I want to talk about this engagement here in Picado. It's something that definitely needs to be talked about because Team Elite still sits at the bottom 16 of the leaderboards. And this is a squad that we said they don't have a lot to lose, but they have a lot to gain. Landing here, they're not working towards those gains at all. It's almost like they've made a concession of the entire tournament.
Yeah, and look, in other days and in other games, I would have said, look, back off Team Elite. But in this moment, in this situation, as I pointed out previous game, they kind of have nothing left to lose, everything to gain. And Istanbul Wildcats, I'm definitely surprised they're staying there because they're lying in roughly around 10th place right now. And they need all the points that they can get. And losing 1-2 members or even going out once again in last place with 0 points is not going to be good for them.
Team Elite already going to be taking some damage here. 3 of their members have been dropped down to sub 50% HP, and they've got to find a way to recover off of this or just, again, disengage entirely out of Picado. You don't need this, and the Istanbul Wildcats certainly do. There's a lot on the line for both of these teams, but Istanbul Wildcats look to gain the most as they are starting to approach the positions of the members of Team Elite. Around the corner, he will be spotted out as the spray comes in, but that does also reveal the location. The aggressive push coming out. If he's able to peek around the left-hand side of that wall, he could have found victory, but no, instead he finds a grenade to the face, and Team Elite's dead, finds the first frag of this engagement. Now the second one, 2 going down. Slippy, Zerg, and Levin going to be dropped.
Now this is the time for Team Elite to push on forward as a team. They do get 1 member knocked down, but they are going to look to follow up as ANL is looking to try and support the rest of his team that have been knocked down. Mr. Adewada, he sees him. He knows where he is. He's actually going to get knocked down.
Dangerous engagement. This is pretty much how it played out every time that we've seen both of these teams clash here. Imperium inside of Picado. No one comes out saying, man, we just made light work of that team that tried to contest us. Both teams come out of there, if they stay alive, saying, holy crap, we just lost a loss. How are we going to continue on in this game? As MJ-Esports starts to make that trek, 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock until the blue zone brings us into phase number 2.
I just don't get why Pobax and SWAT didn't join the other 2 members of their team once they got that first knockdown. It kind of like, you know, when you see an opponent knocked down, you got to be able to pull that trigger, because 2 members were on their own, and we seen it turn in the favor of Istanbul Wildcats because ANLL was able to get the double revive because Team Elite didn't flush as a team onto Istanbul Wildcats. And it's situations like that which fortunately is kind of the reason why they're in last place.
Listen, if you're in this tournament, if you're trying to get through the promotionals into contenders for phase number 3, and you're playing like that, you're going to have a very rude awakening if you're somehow able to make it into the contenders phase for this upcoming segment of PEL. But yeah, that's definitely not the way that you want to see things played out, and certainly not the position that Phantom of 3D Max was looking to find himself in, as he was caught in a bit of a valley. This battle rages on, though. 3 still going to be alive for the members of the Istanbul Wildcats as they try to hold off this push that is not stopping. I mean, this is a full commit here. Both teams just going to be pretty much playing their own game. They might say this is match number 2, but this is essentially a close quarters death match that ends at the end of it.
Yeah, it's their own private BR right now. And I actually don't mind what Team Elite are doing right now, because, hey, look, not to sound like a broken record, they have nothing left to lose, but Zippyzerk does get knocked down, Pobax, but then it's followed up as SWAT in the window, but does get taken down. That's Team Elite going down in 15th position.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, but again, the status quo, not the type of consistency. It's consistency, but it's not the good kind. Crossing over here down towards the far south, though, the Via Damar area going to be very crowded as teams up towards the north look to try to make those rotations. CRIPS under fire, but also finding a few knocks of their own. Phantom still not able to work his way out of this difficult position and has found himself knocked in a bit of a valley. The shots come out, and Webby not even going to allow his teammate to punch out Phantom. He says, no, I'm going to be taking the kill. You can have some of the loot, and then we'll reset. Again, you need to reset. That's a terrible position. I think Phantom learned that firsthand.
Yeah, exactly. You just want to loot up and get the hell out of there. Futbolist, great first game, finishing in 2nd place. They need all the points. They didn't quite climb into the top 8 with that result from game 1, but they have gotten a lot closer, and they've closed that gap because the likes of Airwaves and SEEKORG had a bad first game. So just keeping that gap as close as possible, giving them every single opportunity for Kings. They're lying good, but they need to get in a better position in terms of just, once again, creating that point separation between them and the teams below them.
So they are going to be holding on to the northern side of phase number 1, which closes out in 30 seconds time. And that's not going to be a great position, but all things considered, it is inside of the zone, and it is far from danger as it currently stands. Filu in a bit of a clinching moment right there. You know, we always laugh at the vehicles rolling down the hills, but you have to think about what's happening inside of the car. That car loses HP as it continues to roll down the hill. So the player is just pretty much praying and hoping it's not going to hit something too hard and then explode. Sometimes you see players try to pop out. They might get knocked, sure, but then they usually have teammates to help them out. As phase 1 closes, where's that shift going to be going? It's not going to be a devastating shift. Probably the best, or one of the best shifts you could have seen here if you're a player in the match. Up towards Los Leones, that phase 2 shift to the northeast, excluding a majority of the water.
And look at this, powerful. They went to the east because, honestly, I would have predicted I would have gone that side if I had have really had a bit more of an overview before it did close in. 4 Kings are also looking in a pretty strong position. They can just head on over towards in around Los Leones. And Elgiganten, they don't need to really move anywhere for now. They have high ground, they have mountainside areas, and as we see, they're in the circle. But 3D Max Esquire, they're making actually a great play going on the coastal roadside, staying out of trouble.
Yeah, the southern rotation along to the eastern coast is going to be very open. While we had the map up, I was hoping to kind of talk about Powerful's position.
Okay.
They hold on to the very northeastern side of phase number 2 inside of the zone. And it's almost like every other team in the lobby knows they're up there because there's about maybe like 2 kilometers that separates them from the rest of the squads here in this lobby. As more rotations come out, CRIPS going to be losing a lot of HP right there as Meprol trying to bomb down and the Murado likely going to be popping out here. He should have popped out of the car to get those meds going. I think that's the plan, to at least get a first aid off. And he's able to, but sometimes you got to play it a little bit safer than that, Imperium. That could have been a headshot down and out.
Yeah, and of course, there's a high chance that he would have survived, that he wasn't going to get spotted out. But either way, this is Enviik spotting out Webby, who gets fragged out. So kill point going over to Enviik. Good start to game 2.
CRIPS not having an easy time in this rotation. We had previously seen one of the players trying to med off of crossing the paths of Enviik. One goes out, and now the other 2 members trying to bomb in separate vehicles. Those vehicles taking a ton of damage as the spray comes out. The 5.56 rounds connecting true to the metal on those vehicles, but can they get them smoking enough to where they have to pop out and are disabled? It's not going to be happening just yet, as they do evade the lines of sight of Enviik from the hillside.
Oh man, CRIPS E-Sports just constantly under pressure right now on this coastal road, but for now they've managed to survive. Turbo Banani did get knocked down, but is possibly going to be able to revive by SEEKORG. So just keeping them as a 4-man squad for now. 11 and a half minutes in, we have 52 players and 14 teams left in this game to 3D Max. As we saw, they went down the coastal road, stayed out of trouble, and how they've managed to occupy a bit of a compound, bit of a hillside for themselves.
Phase 1, chaos. Phase 2 brings us back into the realm of sanity as Powerful holds onto the hillside. They did push down a little bit south off of the position we had previously seen them holding onto, but now they are facing off against some shots from the far southern coast of Miramar, where we see Elgiganten Gaming, 3D Max, as well as the Futbolist putting out a few rounds in that direction.
Yeah, because Powerful, they're a little bit out in the open, and the advantage for Futbolists is that they have those compounds, so they can peek just a little bit easier, a little bit clearer. But of course, they're down in the lower ground compared to Powerful, so they still have to play it very careful. As we are going to see this next zonal shift come out soon. Where do you think it's going to be, Esquire?
I don't make predictions. I'm not a fortune teller. Actually, yeah, I will tell you. It's definitely Imperium. It's definitely going down to the south. And there it goes, all the way down to the south. Going to be centered a little bit off to the northwest of where CRIPS are currently holding on to. But with 14 teams still alive, this circle will present some issues of its own. A lot of wide open fields going to be included in here. Power positions already going to be held along the coastal regions by teams that were able to make it there in phase number 1. And you can see Enviik, ToxicPlayers, lining up to possibly combat the likes of SEEKORG, who is trying to find an entryway into phase number 3.
SEEKORG are in an okay position, but they kind of have to cross a road to get that kind of small compound that's nearby them. Enviik are holding on to an overall very good position. They've little creeks and areas inside that mountainside that they can just kind of hide behind and prone down, but ToxicPlayers are close by to them. Airwaves and Futbolists trying to fight. I wouldn't say fight over those compounds, but they're very close to each other, so we could see a bit of action between these two teams.
Definitely not an area of the map you want to be sharing with another squad, especially with 2 other teams looming in the distance. Again, that was the compound that we saw Powerful looking right down the hillside on top of, as ToxicPlayers will be repositioning a little bit further away from Enviik. But Futbol is going to be kicking off this engagement. Mockingjay with a Mini 14 finds the angle through the window and will be taking out Amorous. Fortunately for the members of Airwaves, enough room in between these 2 compounds for them to safely get the res, but that is going to be at least giving some momentum over towards Futbolists if they want to clear out the likes of Airwaves here in the next few minutes.
I suppose at the end of the day, it's just wasting the resources.
Ooh, been there.
Okay, not much more you can say, but either way, yeah. What that's doing on the side of Airways, that's just wasting those resources a little bit more. You're forcing yourself under a bit more pressure come the later phases because you maybe don't have enough on your kit to keep yourself alive. And Futbolists, they're just gonna be aware, play safe, and just stay where they are for now. Tarlans occupying the top near towards Las Leonas. Good position where they are right now, in my opinion.
It should be interesting. It looks like Four Kings were maybe trying to line themselves up on the western cliff, just about 100 or 150 or so odd meters from where Tarlans have pulled up into. Tarlans have a good opportunity to keep every other team out of that warehouse compound, but they have to spread out a little bit. They've got to hold the angles better than they were previously doing after that entry into this side of the compound. Airwaves still holding strong. Many teams in that area. MJ-Esports, Elgiganten off to the east. Powerful, going to be shooting down on top of the members of Futbolist. Istanbul Wildcats under fire as well from YMCA off to the northwest as everyone waits for this next shift. It's going to be going up north to the northwest, ever so slightly off center. A few rotations will have to come out. Powerful, going to be making moves a little bit down to the southwest. Could even see the Imperium wrap around the far northern side of the circle and maybe even clash with the Tarlans.
That's what I'm thinking might actually happen, to be honest. It would be a good call for them. And I'm even thinking the same with 3D Max Esquire. It would be overall a little bit wiser, a little bit safer for them to just sweep down south and actually contest where CRIPS E-Sports are.
Certainly could happen. A lot of things starting to line up here, and this is the exciting point of Miramar. I always wait for about that 15-minute mark before that phase 4 blue zone starts to shrink in, and those rotations get kind of forced out. But we are starting to see some movement. Tarlan's going to be exposed here. Four Kings in a position to spot out not just Maga, but another member of the Tarlans that is going to be departing out of that warehouse shortly. Takes the peek. The shot doesn't come out. There it is. A little bit above the head with the Kar 98 7.62 round, but could have another opportunity shortly.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Phosphorus in this situation on the side of Four Kings. He's looked so strong all week as an individual player. Second place in the frag, second place in third place in damage, first place in the knock. So he's been able to do so much work, but powerful with those grenades flying in from, I believe, Airwaves. Find themselves under a lot of pressure.
That they do. Powerful is a team that is certainly no strangers to combat, no strangers to finding one of the members knocked and then recovering. But how easy can it be in this position on the circle where so many teams have started to congregate towards their location? Poncho going to be pushing down out of the warehouse, down the slope of the hill ever so slightly to try to get a different line of sight onto the Four Kings. He had gotten the information from Maga, who now gets dropped down and out. Fosford with the Mini 14 is able to find the shots as they all roll into the warehouse, at least for the Tarlans, to try to support their fallen teammate.
Yeah, not even surprised. As I said, keep an eye on Phosphorus. He's going to be able to get work like that done. But with the support of the rest of the team now flanking around, they're going to come ever so closer to the side of YMCA with the grenade being thrown out in that direction. He's able to get that knockdown onto Kajati.
Nade's coming out, trying to apply more pressure in that direction, maybe even find the secure, and he's going to be able to do so. Manny with the frag grenade. Out goes Coyote of YMCA. 1 point secured now, the first of game number 2 here. Rishka Power going to be held down. Has the Kar 98 bolt action prepped and ready to spray into the direction of the likes of Tarlans, but will he be able to find that threaded needle connection that he's desperately looking for? He's got to find something here because they're pretty heavily held down by not just the squad over towards the east, the Tarlans, but also down south where they look to move.
Yeah, they should he's just peeking to try and keep giving that communication and giving that information to the rest of the team. I don't think he's looking to get a knockdown from it. You just want to be aware of where your opponents are. As we do see Elgiganten, one member getting knocked down on the side of CRIPS E-Sports, and MJ-Esports also from the side getting that frag onto Hugstar.
Crew still holding on here. Nellas going to be going down as well. Savage behind the rock trying to pick up his teammate before this next shift comes out. This is going to be the shift that will cause many teams to find hardships as we approach the late game stages of this match. And it goes down to the southeast. A hard shift. Elgiganten will be spotted. Savage not going to be able to pick up Nellas. MJ-Esports' Janu finds the Mini 14 frag and drops them out of the game. 13 teams remaining, 46 players alive. I've only seen 14 drop out, 14 players, that is, at almost the 20-minute mark. That's not a lot, Imperium. It's going to be a very deadly rotation for especially these teams coming off of that far western flank.
Enviik have a good position. CRIPS have a good position. 3D Max did have a good position, but I'd say they're not having the luck when it comes to the zone right now. Every time they seem to go into the circle, it shifts away from them and they have to kind of go back in the in towards the direction that they were within reason. But because they're down deep south and no team is looking behind them for now, they actually have a really good position overall because they are close to that circle.
A tricky area to play off as Powerful tries to establish what rotation path they will make to at least maneuver them way down just about 30 to 40 meters right into the face of a few separate teams as they battle over here towards the northwest. Will start to rage on. YMCA, they lost a member early to the Four Kings, but still have 3 to work with. Tarlans going to be losing 1, as well as Ermac is able to find 1 onto Airwaves, but immediately traded back out by Hawk.
Yeah, Tarlans just need to be a little bit careful, play a bit safer, but they've got to be careful as to what's going on behind them. So I can't see them holding on too long unless they can get those knockdowns. We talk about getting those knockdowns and frags. Futbolist who's onto Ghost Star.
That's a big play coming out from the members of that squad. Powerful. Not going to be down and out just yet. We know they have a very, very strong squad as individual players, but having Ghost Star go down early will certainly be a hamper on them trying to find a massive performance here in this game. 12 teams remain at the 21-minute mark of the match, and the frags continue to come back and forth. Ermac able to find a knock and a flush onto Manny. Grishka Power going to be dropped down and out by the blue zone as the shots come in from Tarlans, keeping them at bay, not going to let them easily cross the road. And with the blue zone at this stage in the game, Imperium, it's going to be putting out some pretty massive damage. YMCA feeling it as they get wiped out of the game by SEEKORG.
So Tarlans right now, Emmerich, who got knocked down into his zone, he's not going to be able to survive as a Panchok. So Tarlans finally get put under a lot of pressure there, down to 1 final player on their team. Nope, they get eliminated in 11th place, Esquire.
Just what we expected. We had 13 teams alive about a minute ago, and now we are down to 10. And this chaos up here on the northern side of the circle has given a very, very, very small window for Powerful to work their way up. Marsalik, though, he's going to get dropped from behind the tree. Genzo able to find the flush, but is now taking shots from MJ-Esports off towards the east. 1 more left alive, I believe, at least 1 for Powerful, as they try to push on here. But if you see on your minimap where that little black name is for Powerful, he's stuck in between a very, very difficult position. He's got the members of Futbolist on his east. He's got the members of Airwaves on his west, and he's got to make a rotation down south. He's able to find a 1 frag. That's Mockingjay going down and out. Morpheus with the AK prepped and ready. Finds 1, but can he find the others? Through the stairwell, no, it's not going to be enough. Powerful exits out of this game in 9th place position. All things considered, not bad for them. But for the 8 teams that still remain, Imperium, it's a point race.
Yeah, now with so to speak, the most powerful team, no pun intended, out of this game.
They did that on purpose. They did that on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
They knew we were going to be talking about Powerful all the time. So, you know, even if we're not talking about their team, we're saying Powerful. It's still in our mouths. It's smart.
Way.
It's smart. It brings me back to Team Mustache Dave.
Oh, Mustache Dave. God love Team Mustache Dave. But now, Airwaves, Amorous, they are outside the circle just about. They're looking to push out and flush out Futbolist. They have to try and find their way in here. They have to try and find an opportunity. They pushed out Powerful, and they are going to have a bit of a chance. They're going to have that confidence, but not before Mackin is going to try and make a difference for Airwaves.
Pretty much a fight for who's going to be able to find the entry into the northeastern side of the circle. And huge nades coming out from Airwaves as they find the connection on to 1. Genzo goes down. The blue zone finishes him off, but the kill point goes over to Airwaves as we have 7 teams remaining, 22 players alive. The kill feed just doesn't stop at this stage of the game as grenades come in. Enviik Valle able to find a nice frag inside of the building, connecting onto Happy. He's got Alphadon right outside, but Alphadon does not want to go inside in fear for meeting the same fate that his teammate just saw.
Yeah, who's looked strong individually as a player for Enviik. Enviik as a team have looked pretty good overall with some fantastic performances, but Futbolist gets eliminated in 7th place from the side of MJ-Esports.
Enviik on the southern side of the circle not going to be secured as they find themselves peppered about the members of ToxicPlayers. ToxicPlayers looking to have a huge game here. They currently sit in 10th place on the leaderboards. 1 big game for them could be just what they need to sit a little bit safer going into the second half of the day, the final 2 matches coming up next. But Airwaves, they're making a big push of their own as they find frags multiple onto the likes of MJ-Esports here on the northeastern side of the circle. The remaining member of MJ-Esports, Junu, going to be on the eastern side. He's been spotted. Solar from 3D Max finds that squad elimination. Out they go in 6th, and 5 teams remain.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about as far as 3D Max. They had done so well and have done so well to stay inside or to move inside the circle uncontested and without being sided by any other team. And they did that by initially going down to the south and then crossing over each time that circle popped up. But Airwaves, after dropping out of the top 8 after the first game, they need a strong performance, and this is exactly what they're doing. They're looking for 3D Max. Wago gets knocked down. Amercy's looking for that second knockdown. He does get it done on Solar. 3D Max down to one player, which is Noki.
All Noki has to do is try to put off some grenade pressure to push the members of Airwaves back, but it's not going to be enough. Out they go in 5th place position with 4 teams now remaining. Airwaves look to take a commanding stand here in the final moments of this game. They've got 4 alive. Makin going to be playing the point position, trying to get information on the other 2 teams fighting on the western side of the circle. There is a solo player for SEEKORG. Filu has been spotted out, though. ToxicPlayers will be eliminating him to the northern side of the circle. Leaves us with now 3. Enviik versus ToxicPlayers versus Airwaves. 12 alive. 4 going to be on behalf of Enviik. They've got the numbers to work off of and are likely going to see them start to push. But the third party comes out as Airwaves spot out ToxicPlayers from across the way.
Yeah, on a side note, that was actually ToxicPlayers' first kill onto Philo from SEEKORG. So if they can follow that up with more kills, that will really help add to their placement position points so far. And they're looking for, but Faye does knock down Happy on the side of Enviik, and he's taking damage in return from ToxicPlayers.
One of the most deadliest parts about this endgame circle is how many bits of hills and deflate you have to reset these engagements. Yeah. And the members of ToxicPlayers are feeling the bad side of that as Airwaves are making quick work out of the squad here on the western side of things. It's likely going to be an Airwaves versus Enviik clash for that first place chicken dinner. But Sammy, if he can say anything about it, the snake in the grass, he's got one of the Airwaves members in his lines of sight, but waited too long. One more shot, one more probably half a point of damage would have found the knock, but now reveals his position, goes for the second one, is able to find the knock there, looks up the hillside, tries to find the second, but is not going to be able to do so. ToxicPlayers wiped out by Makin. 2 teams now remain.
Just was able to get himself healed up in time to take out this side of ToxicPlayers. So Enviik, Airwaves. Enviik looking strong. They're looking to close in. But Airwaves, we've seen how strong they've performed in game 2. But from behind, getting his shots off.
Robin not able to secure the flush, though, will be dropped down in return as Airwaves pick up not 1, but now 2. It's going to be very heavily favored towards the members of Airwaves, a 3v1, or rather 3v2 scenario, as they look to try to keep Enviik on their back foot. Now it's 3v1. Flamey goes down, picking up flushes left and right. Airwaves are moving towards that chicken dinner. They can smell it. It's almost prepped and ready to take out of the oven, and there it is. Winner, chicken dinner with 17 kills. Holy cow. That's the record right there, Imperium.
Airwaves turns around and says to Powerful, okay, you got taken out. Anything you can do, we can do. Damn better. 17 kills, 27 points in total for game 1. They look so dominant in that game. They flushed out, they took out every single team that they came across while keeping themselves alive as a high-man squad for as long as possible. Great performance by them. You know, ToxicPlayers did absolutely fantastically as well. They unfortunately felt the pinch at the end from both Enviik and Airwaves, and then of course Enviik finishing in kind of second place from a placement point of view, also did absolutely fantastically.
I'll say it again, that circle, the end game moments of this match, incredibly hard to play off against them. It really makes you employ both strategy and mechanical gun skills. You've got to take the quick peeks, and in those quick peeks, find the knocks. If you don't, you give away your position and possibly your life. Airwaves. That's the name of game number 2. Powerful went out pretty early. I think it was like 9th position or something for them. But still, the fact that Airwaves was able to work through thick and thin to get from that north to south position and close it out in that fashion against Enviik, who had the numbers, lost for words.
It is, and look, again, it's just going to help create that gap difference between the teams below them. It's just going to give them that extra bit of security that they can make the top 8. It's not down and out for them, right? If they have the next game where they finish in 15th place, you know, it's not going to be good for them. So they need to follow up with another strong performance and basically pull off a Powerful, right? You know, so either way, it's still open season for these teams. But Airwaves, you saw them, like I said, squad time and time again, taking them out left, right, and center.
This was a big play right here where Airwaves was able to wipe out the likes of 3D Max. They found one quick, the second almost as quickly, and then it came down to that 1v1 scenario, and they were able to find the kills there. Just incredibly played. I mean, you can watch from Airwaves' perspective throughout this entire game and be thoroughly impressed with how they were able to achieve not just this positioning here in the final circle, but also that chicken dinner to round out the game. And with only 2 games left, Imperium, we've been saying it becomes ever so important that if you're in one of those maybe 9th through 13th positions, to try to come away with a massive game in one of these games and then a consistent game in the other. Let's take a look, though, at how the points have shaped up. Only one team, Elgiganten Gaming, currently sitting in 8th place on the leaderboards, walking away with 0 points. That's going to open up some things. I think some teams were looking for something like that to happen here.
Yeah, like at the start of the day, at least, like Elgiganten and YMCA were lying in 9th and 7th place. So that second game performance is not good for them. 4 Kings and Powerful, they should be safe for now. But as we look at the top 8, as we said, Airwaves, Enviik, MJ-Esports, even SEEKORG, in fairness to them, getting 4 kills, 8 points in total, that's going to help the security of them finishing in the top 8.
That's exactly right. Big points, though. That's 3 times the points. Holy crap. Airwaves, 3 times the points from 2nd place and 3rd place. But Enviik and MJ-Esports definitely having consistent games. That's what you need to continue to do, not just here in stage number 1. But if you're one of those teams at the top, you have to already start thinking about stage number 2. Sure, stage 1, it's not closed out. It's not a done deal. But moving forward, there's a lot more competitive PUBG to be played out in the European region, which holds some of the strongest PUBG competitive players that we have seen to date. So again, not going to be easy. Hopefully these teams know what they need to do moving into these final 2 matches.
Yeah, looking at the kill leaders, are you really surprised? Out of the top 5, 4 players are from Airwaves. Macken, Sadovic holding the top 2 with 5 and 4. And then Hawk and Amorous following up with 3 kills apiece. But Mini Bear from MJ-Esports creeping up there with 4 kills for his team.
Certainly was. Damage very spread out this game. No one really approaching that 1,000 damage mark that we've seen some standout players, some outlier players from previous matches accomplish. But still, very good damage coming out from Airwaves. They've got 3 of their 4 players in the top 4 for damage, and all pretty much around the same figures put out, 500, 634, 641, respectively, for those 3 members of the squad.
As we do see this head-to-head between Airwaves and Enviik, it's not really much you can heavily compare, but you got to give credit to Enviik finishing 2nd place. They did still do 1,200 damage, but nearly double from Airwaves with 2,177. It speaks for itself.
Yep, damage is great, but when you compare it from 2nd place to 1st place, well, you just pretty much see missed opportunities. If you are the squad of Enviik, good damage, though, at least compared between these 2 players. Again, the kills, though, are what give you the points. Damage, sure, it shows your impact in the game.
Yep.
But the game is only a small bit of the puzzle. It's the tournament, the leaderboards that we're going to be focused on as we continue on here. Match number 14 in the book. 2 more to go here. And well, these are your standings. The left side of the leaderboards, if it were to end right now, they're going to be moving on to stage 2. The right side going home. And I want to draw extreme attention, Imperium, as we go through these last 2 games on maybe 4 or 5 squads. SEEKORG in 7th. Elgiganten in 8th. Yep. YMCA Esports in 9th. And then ToxicPlayers in 10th. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on those 4 squads. And certainly everyone, but those 4 in particular, because that's where there's no money involved, but that's where the money is.
It is. And when you want to get to the next stage, when you just want to try and creep on through so you have that next opportunity in the coming towards the end of the week, yeah, you got to get those points through. YMCA, ToxicPlayers, Elgiganten. Hold on in there, but also I want to point out 4 Kings, you know, they slipped down in the standings, so yeah. It's gonna be hard.
It is gonna be hard. So that is it. 2 games having been played out on the final day, day number 4 of Stage 1 PUBG Europe Contenders Phase 3 Promotionals. And with Powerful taking down Game 1, putting up a big point total, however, being surpassed in those 25 and 26 point games by Airwaves, coming in with 27 in their Miramar victory in round 2 of the day. Match number 15 coming up here in about 5 to 10 minutes. Don't touch that browser. Grab a quick snack, because we're getting right back into the action.